Amanda, thank you so much. Well, the situation for bystanders in the Middle East has been changing quickly as the conflict seems to be moving outside of the scope of previous conflicts in the region.
That's right. Joining us to give us some context is senior fellow Andrew Borene at the National Security Institute and a former senior intelligence official. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me. It's a somber moment with 6 U.S. service members killed.
Absolutely, yes.
Send my prayers out to those families.
As do we. I do want to talk a little bit about Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He held a press conference yesterday saying that the U.S. made the decision to attack because of, quote, an imminent threat. I want to listen to that statement and then get your take on it on the other side.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage.
Is he saying that the U.S. was drawn into this conflict with its alliance to Israel in that statement?
No, I think that's a strange way to frame it. I would suggest that Iran has been at war with the United States and Israel since 1979's Islamic Revolution. And we've seen that with Iran's state sponsoring proxy terrorism worldwide at a scale that no other nation in world history has ever done. So I don't know that we got dragged into it. We're facing an adversary that for 40-plus years has been
But then what was the imminent threat?
Well, so we have a state policy that exists under the Ayatollah of death to America, death to Israel, and state-sponsored terrorism worldwide. Then you add to that mix their very aggressive pursuit of not only these short-range ballistic missiles that we've seen them launching with drone attacks toward Israel, but also pursuit of an offensive nuclear capability. And this has been a struggle for 20-plus years, watching them enrich uranium to grades above 60%, approaching the 90% weapons grade metric. So I think that this was perhaps, and I was not in those rooms, but I have been in the past, and we certainly have been doing a delicate dance with the Iranian regime in their pursuit of offensive nuclear capability and not seeing a change in their state policy against Israel's right to exist, and also their death to America policy, which we've seen tragically in terrorist incidents worldwide for decades.
Yeah, a lot of complicated history goes into how we've gotten here. We started talking about the 6 U.S. service members that have already been killed. The president now saying there are stockpiles of munitions at such a high level that the war could be fought forever. How disturbing is that to hear?
I don't find it disturbing, that assertion. We are now in a point in this conflict that we are at war. I find that very hard to believe that we wouldn't say that we are in a state of war with Iran and its current regime under what was the Ayatollah, and then we've seen this degradation of that top layer of their ideological fundamentalist regime. So I think what we're seeing is an assertion that the United States and the White House are willing and resourced through the Pentagon and civilian and military infrastructure and armaments to sustain a much longer campaign. I'm not disturbed by that assertion. In warfighting, it is important to kind of show how strong the capabilities and resources are behind the will in the combatants. And sadly, that is the state that we all woke up to on Saturday morning. And I think we have to face that with a clear-eyed reality that we are now in a struggle of wills between the U.S. and our allies and the Iranian regime and what remains of it as of today.
Well, I think many people, including, we have a ticker right below you of Wall Street showing the Dow down 1,000 points. Many people are disturbed that this could go on for quite some time. So I don't know that assertion is necessarily true for everyone, especially with what we're seeing economically play out right now. But how much damage do you think Iran can inflict before the U.S. achieves maybe its goals here that you're talking about?
Yeah, and I think we want to be clear on what those goals were and have been stated to be. The stated goals are to ensure that this regime never has access to offensive nuclear capability, that they do not have those short-range ballistic missiles or develop long-range ballistic missile capability to continue those strikes on Israel, and we also degrade their ability to launch drone strikes. And so I think that those are kind of the table stakes of an outcome. But I think that, again, and I'm not trying to take a partisan angle here. What I'm saying is that the fact of the matter is that the United States is at war with Iran. Very hard for me, just in common sense terms, to suggest that that's not the case. And so there may be some off-ramps that emerge, but Iran could start really imposing costs. They shut down the Straits of Hormuz. That's 1/5 of global oil. I believe it's 1/4 of liquid natural gas. The Houthis, who have been an Iran-backed, funded, and resourced terrorist proxy in Yemen, could start to work on shutting down the Gulf of Aden. We're already seeing insurance risk premiums rise 60%. So the impact on global trade is real. And I think that these are the costs of a state of war. And it's not a great day for any country to find itself or to be in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's debating that we're not in war. I think it's how we got there is what everybody is talking about. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'm concerned about how we get out and with
I think
victory.
many people are.
Thanks. Also, in developing news in South LA.